Morning, everyone. How you doing? Hope you're well. Me again. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for all the support on the Newcastle video. I think it got nearly 300 views in the end, which is ridiculous, to be honest. I was really pleased with the feedback with that, so thanks very much. I'm glad that you're enjoying me ramblings at least. Just quickly, I need to apologise about the state of my hair. I mean, it's just mop head doesn't do it justice at the moment. With all the barbers being shut and whatever, it's growing out of control. So this isn't what I normally look like, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know that before we start. It's absolute shambles of a haircut, really, isn't it? Let's be honest. But yeah, hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you managed to get out or do whatever you wanted to do. Looks like we're edging closer towards some footy, which is good. I think that Project Restart, which Sky Sports News are now calling it, which is the restart of the Premier League this season, will be discussed on Thursday. So I think that all of the heads of the Premier League clubs and like managing directors, chief execs and stuff like that, I think will put together their proposals and send them off to the Premier League and the FA as to when football will be starting again, basically, because there was a meeting last week at some point. I think it was either a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which day exactly, but one of the plans that is being put forward is that the Premier League season will be restarted at the beginning of June, but instead of teams, obviously it'll be played behind closed doors. There's absolutely no doubt about that fans will not be allowed inside the stadiums, maybe even until next year. They're talking about, but one of the things they're talking about is that the possibility of designating neutral venues for the restart of the season. So no Premier League team will play at home anymore. Basically, there will be 6 or 7 stadiums allocated around England. All over the Midlands and up north. In the northeast, northwest, and down south in London and stuff like that. Those stadiums haven't actually been confirmed yet, but yeah, there's talk that there'll be 6, 7, 8 stadiums. Basically, everybody plays all around them stadiums. Why they're doing this, I was talking to one of my friends on WhatsApp actually, and basically we were thinking that the reason they're mooting that is so that fans don't congregate outside their home stadiums. Say for example, Liverpool. I think they've got Palace at home, and that might be the game that they can win the Premier League. If they win that one, then they become champions for the first time in 30 years. Even if fans can't get inside the stadium, you would imagine that, when the team bus shows up, the Liverpool fans have got a reputation for cheering them on with the flares and, the firecrackers and all that stuff outside. It's just, with the social distancing rules, is simply not something that they can entertain at the moment. So I think that they're introducing this neutral thing as a deterrent so that fans don't congregate outside the home stadium. We can only imagine kind of like how that'll work, but it doesn't really make sense to me to do that because you're taking away the integrity of the league. Playing behind closed doors at first is bad enough as it is. We need fans inside stadiums. It's, football is nothing without the fans. But if they need to get this season finished, then I don't see why they can't play it behind closed doors and, get the results in. And until all of this virus has calmed down, then it might actually be a good idea to do that. Just fill out the fixtures and get that done. And then, August, September, once hopefully things have calmed down even more, then you can look at perhaps phasing fans back inside the stadium. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see what happens there. Like I said, I think it's on Thursday that vote takes place. Well, it's not a vote; it's a discussion as to how they restart the league. So, I'll be definitely keeping my eyes and ears peeled for that one. Keeping my ears peeled doesn't even make sense. But yeah, I'll be keeping my ears open for that one to see what decisions are being made about that. And I'll let you guys know. Fingers crossed we can get a date in plan. We can start to look forward to a bit of football, a bit of Premier League, because I know that Bundesliga clubs are back in training now. I know that Italian Serie A clubs, they've been given the green light to go back to training. So, yeah, it's all starting to fall back into place, which is great. Something to look forward to over the summer at least. And yeah, hopefully the Premier League is the next one back. So anyway, the main talking point of this video, I know that I just want to keep you updated about the current status of the Premier League and when we can expect to see some football. But the main topic of this video was Kevin de Bruyne's quotes that he made to a Belgian newspaper over the weekend. Picked these up on Sky Sports News actually. Tend to tune in once a day just to find out the news headlines, because in between them showing Belarusian Premier League highlights, which made me laugh. God, they're desperate for any sort of live sport. Yeah, I saw them showing the Belarusian Premier League goals, and it was like, they're playing in the middle of a field with about 50 fans there, and you've got Sky Sports commentating on it, which is quite funny. But yeah, on Sky Sports News headlines, there was an article that got released about Kevin de Bruyne and him discussing his future as a result of the European ban that Manchester City have been given. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, City, just reading off a document that I've made here, they were fined 30 million euros, which is about 25 million quid, and they were given a 2-season Champions League ban, which basically means can't. Even if they finish top of the league, they will not be eligible to play in the Champions League. They've been given a ban due to breaching FIFA financial fair play laws, which is, obviously FFP. You can't spend more than you make, and there has been allegations which haven't been pressed against them just yet, but it is FIFA's understanding and UEFA's understanding that they have breached these rules. They've cooked the books, and they've used sponsorship deals and stuff like that to boost their revenue, to then justify them being able to earn a bit more money and being able to spend a bit more money in the transfer market. Obviously City are backed by a massive wealth fund, an Abu Dhabi fund, which is fronted up by Sheikh Mansour. He's been there for, I think it's nearly a decade now, actually. Maybe it's over a decade, I'm not too sure. But yeah, he's invested, billions. He's bought up a lot of land around the Etihad, and he's built pretty much like a mini town inside Manchester. I know that the reserve team have got a 10,000-seater, purpose-built stadium, which is also used for the women's games and stuff like that. The youth facilities, the facilities for staff is out of this world, and it's basically been judged that they've been breaching the financial fair play laws for a couple of years. Despite warnings a couple of years ago that this was coming, they've now been slapped with this 2-year ban. And I believe they've taken it to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which is basically, if you appeal a sporting decision, which is to your detriment and you think that you've been hard done by and you want to appeal it, if your appeal gets thrown out, you can then take it for the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which has got nothing to do with FIFA, nothing to do with UEFA. It is an independent sporting panel of lawyers and judges who can rule in favour or against you to take a look at it independently and see if you have got a case to basically appeal this and take another look at it and get it overturned. So that's what City have done. They've taken this case to CAS, which is what it's known as for short. And we're just waiting to see what happens with that. Obviously with the coronavirus at the moment, this decision has been basically postponed. City is still in this season's Champions League. They beat Real Madrid away from home in the first leg of their knockout game against them. Brilliant result, and they are seen as the favourites to win this season's tournament under Guardiola. So it's obviously massive news because City are littered with world-class talent throughout their squad. You've got Sterling, De Bruyne, Laporte, Aguero, Jesus, Sané, Ederson. You've got players throughout that team that are in the peak of their careers, and quite understandably they're not going to want to sit out Champions League. They're not going to want to miss out on 2 years worth of Champions League football. While they're in the prime of their career, and they can make a difference at a club and potentially pick up a winners' medal somewhere. So yeah, I mean, like the fact that De Bruyne has come out and said this, I've actually got the quotes written down in an article here, which I'll read out to you because they're quite interesting. The quotes were made to Het Laatste News, which is a Belgian newspaper apparently. That's what Sky Sports are reporting, and I'll just read out the quotes. I believe they were made on Friday night. So he said, the club has told me that they are going to appeal and they are almost 100% sure that they are right. That's why I'm waiting to see what will happen. I trust my team. Once the statement is made, I will review everything. 2 years would be a long time. In the case of 1 year, I might see. Now, that's pretty damning from De Bruyne. That basically means, if this 2-year ban gets upheld, there's no way he's sticking about. He's almost implying there, the last sentence, 2 years would be long. In the case of 1 year, I might see. The word might there is quite telling, because he's not saying, oh, if it's a year, then I'll stay around, don't worry about it. Even with 1 year, he's saying, actually, it's pretty unlikely I'll stay, but I would take a look at it. 2 years, he's almost implying there, no chance, I'm off. Now, De Bruyne, in my opinion, he's probably the best midfielder in the league. Absolute Rolls Royce of a play. He's kind of like, minimum 15 assists a year, 10 goals a year, free kicks, corners, penalties. He does everything. He's absolutely brilliant the way he can play. Never seen a passing range on a player, to be honest, like him. Maybe Xavi or Iniesta, but he is unreal. He is undoubtedly one of De Bruyne's key players, in that central attacking midfield or the deep lying playmaker role. He's unbelievable. He can get about the pitch, set pieces, like I say, he's unreal. So for him to come out and say this, it's very, very interesting, because now, players aren't stupid. The rest of the Man City team are going to take a look at that and think, wonder if I should come out and say something, because make no doubts about it. If this 2-year ban is upheld, De Bruyne's off, and any club in the world who could afford him anyway, because I think he's on about 300 grand a week, any club will be in for him. Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Juventus, you name it, they'll be in for him. They'll want him. So yeah, the fact he's chosen now to say it as well, which is a bit of a weird one. I don't know the context behind the quotes. Was he asked something in the scheme of a broader interview? I'm not sure. I'll try and find that out. But yeah, it's very, very interesting quote. So I know that Guardiola, idiot. I know that Guardiola has come out and, he's reaffirmed his commitment to the club. He said that even if City were relegated to the bottom professional tier of English football, which is League Two, he would stay regardless, because there was a lot of talk that Barcelona, with their managerial crisis at the moment, they've got Quique Setien in there, who's not expected to be there for too long. There was talk that, if this European ban be upheld, would Guardiola hang around, or maybe would he go back home to Barcelona and oversee another evolution there? He ruled that out straight away. He basically implied that, Barcelona have got their own financial fair play worries to worry about, and he would be staying around, which is obviously a massive boost to the hierarchy at City, because Pep, one of the best guys about, to coach a team. You're not going to get anyone better than him, really. And the fact that he's reaffirmed his commitment is massive for them. But there are little signs that are creeping out of the players to maybe suggest that all might not be well if this ban is upheld. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think Raheem Sterling said something about Real Madrid a couple of months ago as well. I think it was quite a flippant comment, and that it shouldn't be taken too seriously. But I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was a quote where he mentioned that it would be a dream to play for Real Madrid or something like that. And then, obviously everybody just went crazy about it. It was the old welcome to Real Madrid Raheem Sterling YouTube videos that started popping up everywhere in a 15-minute compilation of him banging goals in everywhere. But yeah, I wouldn't take that one at face value too much. It's yeah, it's just one of them things, really. But yeah, very interesting, the De Bruyne quotes. I would be. I'm curious to see what this court case holds for City. In my own opinion, which doesn't count for much, to be honest, I think they'll get a year ban. I think the 2 years is almost like an example that's going to be set, and then once they go to an appeal, I think it'll be reduced to a year. Will they get a transfer ban? Maybe, maybe one window like Chelsea have got or something like that. Because there is no doubt about it that if these clubs are like flaunting the rules, they need to be punished, because like the same old clubs every single year winning the league year in year out, like PSG are doing as well. I'm not saying that PSG are financial fair play doping, but they do have the same sort of setup with like a state backed like president with access to a lot of funding, and lots of different sponsors that branch out of the state funding. It's a little bit of a tricky one to try and draw the line between what counts as breaching financial fair play and what is a legitimate sponsorship deal. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I just thought I'd share with you those quotes just in case you missed them over the weekend. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what City fans think of that. If you are a City fan, let me know in the comments below whether you think De Bruyne was out of order for them comments, whether you think he's going to stay if a ban is upheld, and also how many players you think will go and how many you think will stick around if this ban is upheld, or if it is only a year. Thanks a lot for all of your comments as usual. I'll be uploading a couple more videos this week. I'm not sure what about yet. We'll see what kind of topics pop up in the sports media. But yeah, keep washing your hands, stay safe, stay indoors. Have a good week. Cheers, guys.